not okay. Luckily, I never had to go to that family's house again. Reminds me of another time Brody was really young and another boy was punching him. My mom took the kid to his mom and told her that his son was hitting Brody, and all she did was say, "Soft hands, Hunter." I mean, come on, soft hands? How about punishing your kid for hitting a stranger?
You clearly don't know how to discipline children. Here, I'll show you how it's done.
A lot of Brenner's injuries were caused by him wanting to grow up fast and to keep up with his older brothers. For example,
my turn. Bryson doesn't need training wheels on his bike, so neither do I. Let me try.
But one time, Brenner tried to set a trend that the other brothers would follow, and the consequences were severe. This next story is the real reason I made this video. I'm honestly still surprised that Brenner survived this. It was bad. In our basement, we had a tall exercise machine that looked like this. Brenner decided that he wanted to climb it and jump off it onto our beanbag for fun. However, this time it went horribly wrong. Brenner pushed the beanbag close to the machine, climbed up, and jumped headfirst with the same regard for his life that a Minecraft player has when seeing one block of water at the bottom of a cliff. Part of the beanbag covered the exercise bench, which extended out, hiding the big metal part underneath. Brenner thought that since there was part of the beanbag there, it would be soft, but his head slammed through the beanbag into the metal part and he split his forehead wide open. Mom and Brittany came running into Brenner crying with blood all over him. They freaked out and dashed him out of the house to take him to the hospital. I only caught a glimpse of him as they ran out, but I could tell it was bad. Brittany and Mom later told me that they could see Brenner's skull through the gash in his head. My dad sent me to a friend's house so they could watch me while my parents took care of Brenner. I remember sitting on their stairs, terrified that I'd never see Brenner again. God, please hear my prayer. If you make Brenner be okay, I promise I'll never be mean to him again. At the hospital, since Brenner was so accident-prone, they kept pointing to cuts on his head that were from previous shenanigans. Is this cut old or new? Is this cut old or new? Is this old or new? Finally, my sister was like,
The gaping gash on his forehead, that is new. Forget the rest of it, fix that.
Somehow the doctors patched him up. I think they even had a plastic surgeon involved in fixing his head. When I next saw Brenner, he was up on his feet with 25 stitches in his head, but he was okay. Phew! I thought you were gonna die, Brenner. I'm so glad you're okay. Anyway. Brenner still has a massive scar across his forehead, but thanks to the doctors, he was okay. Brenner, can you please calm down on the injuries? You're gonna die if you're not careful.
It's not hard to die. I could do it like right now. But like, number two...
Another time, a young Brenner was using the bathroom and found a bottle of painkillers on the countertop. They were coated in a sugary glaze to make them go down easier. So Brenner took the pills one by one and sucked on them till they ran out of sugar, then spat them out. He did this over and over and over, and from sucking on the pills, he got sick and passed out.
I'm tired. Ooh.
My mom discovered Brenner unconscious on the bathroom floor surrounded by pills. What? Ah! And once again, the doctors proved why it's good to go to college. Not for me, though, but as for you guys, good for you. I don't know how they saved him, honestly. I don't really know how doctors work. For all I know, they could have removed all of Brenner's blood, which was tainted with drugs, thrown it away, then pumped him up with fresh blood. I don't know. Another time, he swallowed a bunch of coins, and again, my parents rushed him to the hospital where he was x-rayed to show a pile of coins in his stomach. They told my poor parents to dig through his, waist until they got all the coins. He was like a piggy bank, but way more disgusting. He was like a piggy bank, but way more disgusting. Honestly, with how often Brenner visited the hospital, I'm surprised they didn't have a special section of the hospital just for him. This next story is surprisingly the only time that Brenner has ever broken a bone. You would think at this point that he would have no bones left because of how often he gets hurt, but nope, he still has bones. My family has a small motorcycle that we call Big Bertha. It's fun to ride around on, but it has no suspension. It is 2 wheels and a motor, that's it. One day, Brenner was driving it, and despite knowing that Big Bertha had no suspension, he decided to ride it off a curb. The bike bounced, Brenner swerved and lost control, and he went head over handlebars. He landed on his arm and totally snapped his wrist. One hospital trip later, and Brenner had a cast. He wanted his cast to be unique, so he asked me to paint it to look like Thanos' gauntlet. So I got the paint out and painted it as best I could to look like the gauntlet. It looked pretty cool in my opinion. But then later, Brenner's arm got itchy. The doctors told him that his arm would be itchy at first, but that if he ignored it, the itchiness would go away. They also specifically told him to leave the cast alone and to not shove anything into the cast to try and scratch his itch. However, the itch got the better of Brenner, so without consulting anyone, he grabbed Brody's glasses and started shoving the long end into his cast in an attempt to scratch his itch. He pulled the glasses out only to realize that the little rubber covering had slipped off and it was now stuck in the cast. Determined to scratch his itch and recover the rubber cover, Brenner somehow removed all of the soft wrappings underneath the cast, leaving only the hard outer shell. Brenner had scratched his itch and was satisfied. Then Mom walked in and saw what Brenner had done. They went back to the hospital and explained the situation. Can you imagine being a doctor and setting someone up with a nice cast to help them heal, and the next thing you know, they ruined it?
I feel like the maid. I just cleaned up this mess. Can we keep it clean for 10 minutes?
They had to cut off his Thanos cast and make another one for him. Brenner got home and asked me to paint his new cast. No, I spent a lot of time painting that last one and you ruined it. How do I know you won't ruin it again?
Come on, man, just paint it again.
Why should I be penalized because of your sloppiness?
So Brenner went around wearing a lame blue cast rather than a cool Thanos cast. A few months later, the doctors took off the cast and they realized that Brenner's arm had healed crooked. It was literally like a 15-degree angle. My mom pointed this out and the doctor said, "Yeah, well, it's within the range of crookedness that we consider to be acceptable, so we're just gonna leave it like that."
What? That's easy for you to say. You're not the one who has to live with a crooked arm. Fix his arm and do it right this time.
So the doctors explained that in order to fix it, they would have to re-break Brenner's arm, angle it correctly, and recast it.
Do it.
Wait, what?
Hold them down.
Wait, no!
So they did that and Brenner's arm eventually healed correctly, but not without pain. Now you would think that after breaking his arm on Big Bertha that Brenner would never touch that thing again, right? Nope. Let me tell you one last story. One day, me and Brenner got bored and decided to go for a ride. Him on Big Bertha and me on my go-kart. We chased each other around a parking lot, but then I thought, how can I make racing around more interesting?